Hi everyone, Elise here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on a card that is called a CrossoverPointyCard. I saw it first at LB Handcrafted YouTube channel, and I wanted to give it a try. So Lynn has two videos making this card, and she has the complete instruction. So go over there to LV_handcrafted to check out the instructions, because mine is going to be a little bit going faster. I'm going to start with 5.5 card, and I'm just looking for it's a center line. I love this ruler because it has a 0 in the middle, so I can just put it and look for a middle and just mark. My favorite ruler, actually. Then I am going to cut from that point that I made, that mark, to the top corner and just cut it there. And then I'm going to flip it over because I found it that easier. And then just cut from, again, the mark to the other corner, top corner. And we create this point card in the middle. And I'm going to, yep, it's going to look just like this, okay? I decided to use some paper and this is an old collection from me and my big ideas. It has a foil pink floral and some really bright colors. Nothing like what Lynn used from Graphic 45, but I'm going to be doing the same thing. These squares are 5-inch squares. I'm going to cut them, marking the half point. I probably should have done the back side because it was easier to see the marking than over the foil. But I'm going to do exactly the same thing that I did with the card. From that mark to the opposite corner, I'm going to clock, then turn it around, and I am going to do the same thing. Cut from that mark to the corner. And I am creating the same shapes that I just created for the card. And these are the pieces of pattern paper that are going to go over the card that I just cut from the white cardstock. Excuse me. Still recovering from my COVID time. So here you can see I left a little bit of bigger edge that Lynn did on hers. And I am just going to tape together these 3 triangles on top of my card. So this first big triangle goes in on top of the actual white card. I'm just eyeballing the center. Probably easier if I had used some glue, but I did not know where my glue was at that stage in my craft room. These are the 2 pieces that I cut from my cardstock, and these are the 2 pieces of the pattern paper, and they're going to go on top of each other. Again, it's going to be a bigger margin left around, but I don't mind it. I actually like it against this light blue pattern paper. Trying to cover those tiny little corners. Again, much easier if I had some glue to help me out here with those corners. And okay, so again, this is an old collection by me and my big ideas. I don't know if you guys remember that company. And I'm struggling a little bit with this tape runner because the tape that I have right now in there is super, super sticky. And it keeps sticking to my fingers, as you can see. Okay, I got my 2 triangles that are going to be positioned across each other. That's what the card is going to look like. I kind of like these pastel colors against the vibrant colors. I cut another 5x5. I probably should have cut it 5.5, 5.5. But again, I don't mind that border that it's creating. This is also from me and my big ideas paper. This one has some really fabulous glitter that I wish wasn't rubbing off, because there is glitter everywhere in my room right now. And you'll see ahead that from the leftover paper of this, I cut out some of those hearts to use as ephemera. I had a little bit of extra tape that was bothering me, and all I did was use the eraser on my pencil to just rub it off. And again, I'm positioning and making sure that this time I decided to put the right side on the bottom. I marked where I'm going to place my tape. I just used my finger to mark. Now I'm just placing tape in the part that it's going to be overlapping my card. So you see that tail of that triangle does not overlap. It's going to overlap the inside card, so I don't want to put any adhesive there. And then I'm putting the left side on top because it had some of those foil flowers, and I wanted you to maybe at the end of the card be able to see some of that. Here I am gonna mark. I'm gonna make some marks. Unfortunately, like I'm trying to mark here, but when I turn it over, I can't even see my own marks. Like I am really struggling right now. I was trying to remember how did Lynn do this, and then I remember, oh, she had an extra scrap that she did where she traced the triangle and used that to mark it. So that's what I'm doing here. I am just tracing the triangle, making an extra piece, which I am going to place and then mark. So I'm cutting just that extra. It could have been from any scrap that you have. See, it's a little bit tiny bit. You can't see it with the lights, but it's a tiny bit smaller. So I'm going to put it right there where I want it. Then I'm going to remove the top part. And now I'm going to mark where I want to cut those pieces. The reason we're doing this, and I love the idea that Lynn did this in her card, is to keep a more flat look in the card. And it's easier to then glue the other pieces. Because now I'm really just making some bridges here. So when I glue all together, both of those crossover triangles are flat and there's no like areas where it's lower and it's not going to glue as well. Here I'm just positioning the little bridges that I created without extra scraps of cardstock. And you don't see it, but there was a 2-minute that I removed from the video where I went and had to look for my glue because I had it with the tape runner. So I am just seeing where I want. I'm actually moving those little pieces, but you can't see it very well. I'm going to glue those bridges that I created. And just putting a little bit of liquid glue. I'm using Burley Arts. Love this glue. Seriously, love it. And then positioning back my crossover triangle. And I'm going to actually put glue. It's easier to put it on the part that, because I know exactly where that is going to go. And I am posting it over. And this is the base of my card. I really like these colors. It's been a while since I used them, but I love how it looks. See? From here on, I started looking into what to use. I wasn't sure. I had some flowers. I had some papers, some buttons. Lynn did some rosettes. She actually cut the strips of paper and then fold them to create the rosettes. But I have this Tim Holtz Alteration small rosette die. So I am kind of doing a little cheat. And this cuts 2 rosettes in a smaller one and a medium size. They're still a lot smaller than the ones that Lynn created. And I wish I had done a bigger rosette. Maybe it's time for me to sit down in the computer and actually create an SVG cut for me to create rosettes. So this cuts not only the pieces, but also the little circle in the middle to glue and keep the flower. So it also marks where you're gonna fold. So that's why it's perforated. So it's really easy to fold. Like you can see, this is like literally going super fast for me. I am gonna do, first I started with the big one. Big one is 9.5. The small one is like 9.25. That's the length of the paper. You can do 1 rosette with 1. Or you can cut 2 of these and glue them together and make a more fluffier rosette. I put a little bit of tape. Sorry, I'm out of the camera. Just gluing the 2 ends. and then you just push it in the center. Okay, there you go. Put a little bit of glue, usually hot glue gun. It's perfect. So here I decided to again go back to my ATG with this super sticky tape. Like seriously, like this tape is ridiculously sticky. I end up using the little center for the small rosette just to put in the back for a little bit more sturdiness. And then I put it on the card and I realized, oh my God, this rosette is tiny. I'm going to have to put a lot more stuff in here that I anticipated. So I started looking into the little ephemera and elements that I have. I have foam hearts, I have felt, I have paper flowers, buttons, I have some super uber bright yellow tags. I really wanted a tag, but it's like way too bright. So I decided to, you can't tell, this ribbon, this polka dot ribbon, is actually a much mellower yellow. I decided to go run some tape on my tag, and we're just gonna cover this puppy up with ribbon, and we're gonna cover the whole thing. First, I thought, I'm gonna do no, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna cover the entire tag with this cross grape ribbon, and I am lining up as best as I can the polka dots, but it's not something that I'm taking too much care about it. It's a little bit of extra tape. I might try to use my eraser from my pencil, but this time it did not work. Kind of made a little bit of smudge. Went and grabbed my scissors, and super quick way to cover that tag and just mellow down that bright yellow. This is the back of the tag, so nobody's going to see this part, so you don't have to make it pretty. I decide maybe I still need a few more items. I'm not quite sure. I'm playing around. Do I want to see the brightness of the end? Do I want to put another ribbon over it? And I do want to put another ribbon, but I can't figure it out. What do I want to do? And then I found this polka dot. Again, polka dots, more polka dots. Light pink that kind of mellows down the yellow a little bit. So I more tape runner, cover it. Again, I have to make it pretty. This is just the back, okay? Then I place around, I played with some Cartabella die cuts, says the smile. You actually use both of the rosettes, cut out some of the hearts from the pattern paper that had the glitter. There's glitter everywhere now. And as you can see, I cover mostly the bright yellow that was left over in the tag. Added some ribbons, added some flowers, some bling. I made sure that there was some bling that was in the inside of the card, but when you have it closed like this, remember that there's some areas that you can see from the inside that you won't see. So it's kind of really pretty. I really hope you enjoy it. I really hope that you go and check Lynn's YouTube video where she explains everything. Bye bye.